Yo, what's up guys, it's Tom. Welcome back to a brand new video and more F1 2017 content. This time showcasing off the brand new championships mode and the one where we can get to drive the classic cars in different various events. Now, within this mode, I was actually very impressed. Straight off the bat, just, checking it out, we've got the invitational events and the championships. In this one, we're going to focus more specifically on the championships. And, very impressive. I've got to say, there's actually so much depth in this game mode. And, Kamas has done a great job of putting these in. As you can see, we've got the normal championship mode. We've got a classic championship featuring more of the more classic and traditional tracks on the calendar. And, that's very interesting because you can get to drive more of the sort of 90s and 80s cars. Then we've also got the sprint championship, which is, basically the 2017 cars, but put into a bit of a shuffled up grid and only a couple of races. So it's going to be, like the name says, a sprint championship, a very quick one with only a couple of tracks and a very random sort of modified grid. Also the double header tour and just a wide variety of game modes here. And they're all actually very interesting, and I was very impressed with all the different variables and how much they've actually managed to mix up all the concepts of the different versions of classics. You've got so many different choices. Obviously here you can pause it and choose which one you want. In this case, in this video, we're going to be doing the classic street series, which is the one that we're going to be doing today, because we get to drive basically any of the cars that or if any of the cars of the classics we want, basically. So I'm going to be driving in this episode the Renault R26, Fernando Alonso's 2006 championship winning Renault. As you can see, there's a few more events which you have to unlock. So basically, the more events you do and the more you advance and the more R&D, the more XP you get in the game as a whole, then you'll start unlocking these new events. So it's a really good way, a good incentive to keep on playing on and gain XP, and also just gain more game modes and really give the game more length and immersion. But we're going to jump straight into it here, and I've already done a little bit of a test. I'm going to jump into it. We've got a little selection of cars, as you can see there. We've got all the cars from the classics to choose from. I thought about going to the 1995 Ferrari, but in the end I decided to go for the Renault R26, and it's brilliant little paint scheme there. And then eventually I'll probably do a video on a Ferrari maybe tomorrow, but we're going to do it now. 101 AI difficulty, ultimate difficulty, and we're going to be racing around Canada today in a 25% race, and we're going to be mixing up with all the cars from the year 2000 onwards. So the 2002 Ferrari, the 2004 Ferrari, the other 2006 Renaults, the 2007 McLaren, and the 2008 McLaren, and 2007 Ferrari, and the 2010 Red Bull RB6. So we've got a wide variety of cars here and a big spread of competitors. And I was actually really taken away in this video, and you'll see in a moment. You won't notice as much as I did because I was recording the race live, but it's very curious to see the AI battle and seeing all the traits of each little car battle on track. So for example, you can see a 2002 Ferrari, which is so quick in a straight line with this V10 power, be terrible for the corners, but then it was so powerful on the straight. So if you had a Red Bull RB6 from 2010 behind that Ferrari, the Red Bull would be all over the back of the Ferrari for the corners, but then it couldn't overtake it on the straights. So it makes up a really interesting dynamic here. But we're going to jump into a one-shot qualifying around Canada, and I've got to say, I got faster and faster with this car as it went on. The R26, from what I could tell from the final qualifying results, wasn't one of the best cars. I probably picked one of the worst ones because it was the first car from the V8 era, so it wasn't optimized, and the engine power was down slightly. So as you can see, we're currently focusing on lap here. We've got the I think that's the Red Bull RB10 the RB6 2010 in the lead. So it goes to show how much I've dropped back from a car that's 4 years newer than that one and has so much more downfalls. And I was trying to keep up. This car obviously does have a launch control, and also I believe it's got built-in traction, or at least it feels like it, because the car drove really nicely throughout the traction zones, and most of them were pretty damn good. But I was getting used to the car. It feels weird using first gear again, using second gear much more frequently, and going back to what we used to back in the V8 era in terms of using gears manually, which is obviously, if any of you guys use manual gears, then you'll know what I'm on about. And using first gear is very rare now in the current F1 formula, but it took me a while to get used to this car, and it's definitely a very interesting lap here. And I think I'm currently in P12, and now going to the back straight, as you can see, I'm losing positions because this Renault isn't the fastest in a straight line. Even the V8 Renault power unit, or the engine we could just say, wasn't renowned as one of the fastest anyway. But as you can see, through the final chicane, up and close to the wall of champions, down to P16, and that is probably going to be my final finishing position unless I pull something out of the bag here. And a very interesting qualifying. Obviously we've got a 20 car grid, so I've qualified towards the bottom, and in real life that would be a Q1 knockout. So it just goes to show the Renault R26 isn't the fastest car there. But here we go. We're going to go up to the 5 red lights for the race now, and it's going to be lights down, away we go, using the launch control and really just abusing the car's rev, and also get a nice start. We jump past 3 cars up to 13th place, and now we're looking for the inside line into turn 1 here, up the inside of this McLaren here, with a little bit of contact, a little bit of sideways contact there. But the R26 is definitely the slowest car out of all of these, from what I could tell, at least in qualifying timing, because there was like 3 Renaults in 18th, 19th and 20th, and then there's myself in P16. As you can see, there's contact there with the Renaults. I lose an end player on the right front there, so just catching the McLaren there through the chicane. But we keep on going in these cars. The downforce loss isn't as bad as what it is now, because at least not in the 2006 Renault, because this car obviously was downforce dependent, but it was more just because the whole car as a whole worked much better. The front wing back then obviously it wasn't the beast it is today. Like today's day and age, if you lose a front wing or a bit of front wing, you're going to lose a lot of downforce. Here it wasn't so bad, so you can keep on going here. And it was a very interesting concept, because basically the McLaren, the year from 2007 McLaren, is so fast in a straight line. It's got all its aerodynamic bits on the car, but through the corners, I'm pretty good through the corners. So the McLaren you'll see now is really bloody powerful in a straight line. That car is actually really quick. And here he goes. He's going to try and maybe lining me up for a move here. He's got the straight line speed. He's going to try and pull to the inside, I think. There you go. You see my mirrors on the right-hand side there. He's going to look for the move up the inside on the brakes, but I'm going to go around the outside and just hang it just about around the outside, and really pushing the brakes there. I've noticed the AI in the classic mode are actually really bloody aggressive. And look at this. We almost got a 3-wide situation in the McLaren going up my inside, giving me a good old squeeze there, and I have to go around the outside and make the move. So even though these cars are just classics and they're meant to be treated with respect, these guys, or the AI in the classics, really don't care too much. They're really aggressive, so you've got to be very careful for them, and they'll give you a good old push if you're not careful. But as you can see there, we're currently setting into a bit of the rhythm now into this car, and eventually we caught up to the car ahead of us here, and we're currently in P12 now on lap number 5. And as we go into the hairpin here, I thought about a dive on the brakes, but the AI are pretty good on the brakes, similar to the 2017 AI. They're just hard to beat. Like, if you want to make a move, you've got to really work for it. And also, like I said before in the previous video, there is no slipstream, so you're really working hard to make these overtakes work. And as you can see, I'm getting a good run here through the chicane, as close as you like to the wall, through turn 6 I believe, and we're just going to have to go for it in the brakes and be really ballsy, really late braking move in second gear, and get the move up the inside. And there we go, up into 11th place and making a nice move there, using a bit of rich mix in the process as well, just to help us make the move there. But I really worked hard for that overtake, and in the next one as well, I'm also going to try and work hard to catch him up. A little bit of a corner cut there through the chicane, as I'm really trying to explore the track limits in this car, because the fuel's going down but the tyres are not wearing at all. There's no need for a pit stop. And as you can see here into the hairpin, we're going to make the dive in first gear. Very nice move on the brakes, and like I was saying, the tyre wear is non-existent in these cars. It's like the old days, so you don't actually have to do a pit stop in a 25% race. So you can just basically, it's a 25% sprint race basically, and essentially as the fuel comes down, so do the lap times. And that's a very interesting and also rewarding fact, because basically you're time trialing and hot lapping, and you're going faster and faster and faster and faster every single lap, and it's just so satisfying. And by the end of this recording session, I genuinely felt right at home with this car, and it's an absolutely brilliant car to drive once you really get the hang of it. And as you can see, the lap times are just dropping and dropping. The fastest lap around here was like a 1 minute 13.6 by the lead coach. I think it was a 2004 Ferrari, but I was about a second or so off the pace from that. But the pace was good enough to catch these guys ahead of me. As you can see now, on to the last lap of the race, I'm catching these two cars. I genuinely sweat my tits off as much as I could to catch these two guys. And as we go into the hairpin here, I've caught Rob to the back of him, but I've just tapped the back of the Red Bull here, and he's behind the 2007 Ferrari. This is what I was saying. I was watching these two guys the entirety of the final stint, and the Red Bull was so much faster through the corners compared to the Ferrari, but the Ferrari in a straight line is so powerful. And here goes the Red Bull. He's going to try and go for a move possibly in the slipstream. I'm trying to maybe have a last second lunge on the Red Bull, but the Red Bull can't get past the Ferrari in that straight line. And here we go through the final chicane, using all the curb. I tap the back of the Red Bull. It ruins my momentum, and I'm not going to be able to catch him there, and it's going to be P10 for the race there. So not too bad, a good little recovery there from P16 to P10, and a very enjoyable race there. And I was very impressed straight off the bat with the classics, and I may do another video on these for tomorrow if I get time, because I'm at work most of these days, so I'm very busy at the moment. But hope you guys have enjoyed the video, and if you did, then please do smash the like button, and also if you're not here, want to subscribe to my channel. And if you have missed any of the videos on screen right now, then I do urge you to go check them out if you haven't done so already. Let's see if we can try and smash 150 likes. Actually, no, not 200 likes. Let's smash 200 likes on this video, guys, and I'll try and have a video up for you tomorrow. But thank you guys ever so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video very soon. Goodbye.